Yo, what up? My name is Rob. Welcome to the daily crawl here, guys. I'll give you just kind of a brief update on the Akers chassis I've been constructing. I've got things basically mocked up, temporarily all put together. Servos came in. I've been positioning them. I think I got them in a spot it's gonna work. So you can see my winch riding right up front, and it just clears just barely that link there. I wish I had maybe gone further off center, although I couldn't by much although I could have dremeled the side and gone over, and then that winch spool would have been a little more centered between the links instead of just barely off to the one side. And that would have gained me just a little more clearance, because what I had to do was I've positioned my shocks in such a way that they're stacked on top of each other as far as the link and then the shock. And that's risen the ride height of the entire vehicle, 5 millimeters or so, maybe 6. So it's gonna be riding higher than it should, or would have normally if I had doubled up on the links. Anyways, I've got my electronics positioned. I'll be able to Velcro this to the side panel or double back tape it, either way. My itty bitty receiver will go right there. I'll be able to solder up the wires and make everything exact fit. That way I don't have a wire mess at all. These wires right here from this front servo and the winch will get snuck down underneath the mofo pancake and run right on top of the link that's there, but underneath the motor, and then underneath my ESC, which is the Lizard Ultimate, and then plug in right there to the back. Now where you see this yellow wire coiled up is where the battery tray sits, and it just gets rubber banded, strapped right onto the top links like such. I have a 250 milliamp Galaxy battery, and that is just barely gonna fit. I mean, it's in there tight with the ESC where it is and this bar where it is. And I don't really have the room for it to be anywhere else other than right there. Seen them front battery mount deals, maybe. Although I have Scx24 axles, so unless somebody comes out with a 3D printed battery on axle mount for the FCX axles, which they might already have it, I haven't really looked. I've always just thought the battery was going to go right there and all would be all right. And I'll have my incandescent back glass there. So once this battery's in position, there's a good chance that it's gonna have to stay where it's at. I'll have a battery lead coming off the ESC so I can easily unplug it, and the battery wires will just sit right on top of here, I'll be able to, and then the on button for the ESC is just right there. So plug in the battery, turn the ESC on, battery will be probably permanently back there on the rear links. I might have to purchase the 180 milliamp 3S Galaxy batteries. Going 3S, maybe I'll only have to go 2S since it's FCX axles and the wheel speed's already there. Maybe there's a 250 milliamp 2S that'll be all right. I don't know. Definitely gonna think about that for a second here. Might have to do both. Hadn't really thought of it. Anyways, 4-wheel steer. I've got the Terrell spool locker gears coming for these axles. They're the crawler gears from what I understand, because it's got the locker. So to me, that helps lock the wheels in place from what I understand. Might help prevent motor cogging with the Scx24 transmission. It is a hot racing overdrive transmission, so I'll have that little percentage of overdrive to the front axle. And maybe those spool locker gears prevent it from rolling backwards as you're trying to go up a steep incline, because I see a lot of cogging on some of these cheap FCX axles. So maybe those better gears will help get rid of that. I'll have metal drive shafts. I already fitted them. I have them floating around here somewhere. I've got a mess. Holy moly. I've still got to cut the front hood here, carbon fiber with a cutout for the winch and a cutout for the motor. And it'll extend about flush with this front piece of copper, and I got a Dremel slot here for this, and then I'll have a hole drilled into the hood, so that way I can mount this rod end here like such, but it'll be sunk in for the wire. As you can see, it'll be mounted center and just miss the spool while it's spinning, but be the wire guide. So the wire guides right back into the spool perfectly. And then I'll have that wire then drug up and over in the hook, which is right there, hooked around this rear bar. And depending on the battery size, this rear bar, I might have to develop some sort of extension off the rear end. I do have just a little bit of room, but that bar is there to help with the rigidity. And then, I mean, I might be able to extend that just a bit. Don't know, but that's kind of the idea I'm going for now. And that'll give the battery a little more room, but we'll see. So far, I'm able to fit all this. And once I start trimming wires and positioning things, I shouldn't have any wires. I mean, you might be able to see them this direction as they plug right into the receiver. But the idea is that nothing is going to stick further past than the ESC right there. Because you can see I should be able to plug everything in there nicely, and then 90 degree the wires underneath the ESC and the micro receiver. Motor wire will get trimmed up, cut to perfect length to just plug right in. Yeah, it's coming along. I still got a long ways to go. Long ways. I've got a couple more holes to drill. I need to drill a hole between this screw and the shock screw, because I need one more bar running across with holes pointing up, so that's where I'll screw the hood down to, and then it'll be 1 millimeter thick. My panels are 0.5 millimeter thick, so I'll go 1 millimeter thick on the hood, and that'll help anchor that spool rod end for the winch through. Right on the very front, I'll have a screw, boom. And then where it's screwed down right here and here, I'll go with this little spacer like you see there, and then another smaller hood piece to cover the holes and cover up everything. Because what I've done here on the sides is I have created a 3-dimensional side panel look. Let's get her where these panels are away from the side, and then the hood will end up looking the same. And then I've got a piece of carbon fiber I need to put on top of this one. This one was 1.5 millimeters thick, which matched. It came as a different pattern, which was fine, but I've always needed to then screw a good panel on the top and then also a panel underneath to sandwich them all together. That way this will never go anywhere, because right now it's just kind of resting in there. I didn't want to glue anything. My incandescent windshield and back glass, got holes drilled in them for these rods. Boom, boom, boom. That way the incandescent panels are screwed and nutted together. They're not going to be glued in. Nothing will be glued in. It'll all be bolted together, Loctited to finish her off, and then be all set. Right now, as it sits, I got a lot going on in this little chassis here. I've got a slight front end weight bias, not a whole lot, but just a slight. And as that battery sits on the rear links, it's probably going to even it out. So I ordered the limited edition Hard Park Super Wheels. And I'm hopeful that with those Super Wheels, I'll be able to somehow modify those weight hangers to fit on an FCX portal axle. They're made for the SamX knuckles or the low blow knuckles for your regular SCX axles or Super 8 axles, not for the FCX. So I've got a challenge ahead of me. I will be removing the springs on here also, so the ride height will be down just a little bit, but that is still way up in the air and way off the ground. And I'm hopeful that by maybe bringing a little more weight to the wheels, way down low below the axle, that I'll counterbalance that. And it won't matter the ride height. Then I'll be ahead of the game because I'll have a shit ton of belly clearance. So we'll see how it goes. But as of right now, that's the update. Longer video than I intended, but thanks for watching. If you have any questions, I'm sure I left some shit out, but yeah, it's coming along, guys. Peace till the next time.